Okay, I went ahead and broke those, but notice I broke one a little too long, and I did that on purpose. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to extend this line back up to this line right here. There's a couple of ways I can do it, but the most basic way is typing EX for the extend command, and I want to select this, and then I want to select that, and pops it up right there. Okay, but that's under the assumption that the end of this line right there is where this line would have projected up to. They meet at the corner, okay? All right, now I'm going to go ahead and trim these lines off. Okay, there, and up there, okay. So as you can see, my piece here looks very similar to the drawing on figure 6. I just need to now move over here and move to the right-hand side view. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and drop another vertical line, keeping the F8 orthogonal on. And now that I have these lines over here on this side of my construction line, I'm just going to go ahead and trim these off now. So select that as my cutting line. Select that, select that, select that. And let me trim that off too. Okay, so now the depth of my piece, the width, is 1, 2, 3, and it looks like it's 3.5 units over, so 3.5. So I can just go ahead and project that over. Now I can trim all these lines off. Okay, now this is my side view. Next thing I want to do now is go ahead and create the top view, which should be fairly easy. Okay, so again, create a line up to the top. Now, one thing I can do is I can use the S for stretch command, and after invoking S, I start off in a blank area over here, and I just want to grab just the lines, but I want most importantly is I want the ends of those lines. Okay, I don't want to grab the whole line, just the ends. And then I hit return, click somewhere in space, and then drag them straight up. They'll go straight up, especially if you have the F8 orthogonal still on, okay? Okay, now let me show you a drafting technique that works in manual drafting as well. We can use it in AutoCAD to get our width. Okay, now our width is fairly basic. It's 3.5 units over, and all I need to do was offset this line over. If you remember the first couple of weeks, I showed you the up, over, and then back down technique on how to bring some of these dimensions over to other views. So what we want to do is we want to actually have this bottom line and then this side line meet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line, and then I'm going to hit here's something I need to show you. Select the line command, and then if you hit the shift and then click button or right click button at the same time, this little window comes up. And this little window, we're able to select an exact point on any one of the features. So in this case, I want to use the end point, and I want the end point of that line. And notice you got that little green box, and I'm just gonna place the line up about right there. The length of it's not that important. Okay, going ahead and using the extend command that you learned earlier, I hit EX, type the line that I want my second line to extend to, hit return, and then select this one, and then all of a sudden I have this point. Now, I want a 45-degree line coming out this way. So I type in line, and then again the shift right click for the end point, and AutoCAD rotates its angles counterclockwise. So I have to invoke a special command. Let's see if this will work. At 45 degrees, no, I can't. I have to say at, and then let's say 5, just for a dimension, and then at 45 degrees. Okay, this is a special contextual way in order to place a 5-inch line or 5-unit line specifically at 45 degrees. Okay, So here's where that line is, okay? Now, I could have done it another way. I could have created that another way. All I needed to do was start my line here, and all I needed to do was RO for rotate, select that line. Since I'm done selecting the line, hit enter, hit the shift, right click, select the endpoint, and then go here to the endpoint, and then type the command, or type the angular rotation of 45 degrees. And notice it slaps a line right on top of where the other line is. This is an advanced command. You know what? You don't really have to know it. I'm just kind of demonstrating this technique, okay? So the reason you want this 45-degree angle is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the line from here, project it up to there, and then take the line, and then I'm going to use the intersection, snap here, intersection from there, and move it over here, okay? So what I just did was I projected out the width of this piece here in this view out to my top view, okay? So now this is now 3.5. So this is a geometric way to construct the width, but if I would have just used the AutoCAD offset command, I would have gotten it for us as well. Okay, now we have that, and I'm going to trim up my lines here. I'm just going to use that. I think these are independent now. Yep, they are. So I can just erase those. Erase that one. E for erase. Now I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim all these in one bunch. Okay. I'm going to start out here and swoop, and then I'm just going to hit return because I'm done with my selection of the cutting lines, and I'm just going to start cutting them individually here like this, like that, like that, like that. There, 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 and these two. Okay. Notice, and I'm almost there. I'm like 80% there. But notice on the on your figure, you have a little backsplash back here, and that is 1 unit over. So I'm going to offset, and that's going to be 1 unit here. And then I'm going to play the same game of trimming these off. And then there, I have to trim that one, and that one. And then I have to trim these two off as well. Okay, or that one. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is my part. But now I have to put in my holes, okay? And this hole that goes in here is, let's see, that's 1, 2, looks like it's 1.5 units in diameter. And this one, it's hard to read, but it looks like it's just 1 unit, the hole that would go here, okay? And so what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and offset some of these lines halfway through this width so that I can locate where this hole is. Okay. So the easiest way to do that is I can type the L command. Okay. And then shift right click. And I can use the endpoint here, okay? And I'm going to turn off my F8 so that I'm no longer orthogonal. Then I'm going to hit the shift, right click, and I'm going to use the intersection. Okay, this one, and I'm going to go right there. All right, okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my diameter in here, and I said the diameter was 1.5 units, so I type C for circle, and now my now I want to use, I know that the 1.5, I know that 0.63 is half of 1.5. No, 0.75. I'm sorry, I misled you there. So if my circle is 1.5, then 0.75 is halfway through there. So I'm going to use, here's a new modifier, shift right click, and I'm going to use midpoint. Shift right click, simultaneously midpoint. You go here, and here's where you type in either 0.75, or notice down here I have a diameter option. let me go ahead and type in 1 point. Oh, I have to push in. I have to type in D for diameter. Now I can type in 1.5. Okay, so there's my circle. Let me erase this thing, or my hole actually in my part. Let me move over here, and I can't really tell how far over my hole should be, but it looks like the hole is 1 unit. No, I don't know what. I think the hole on this side is 1 unit, and I think, I'm not quite sure, but it looks like it's 1 unit in, and let's just call it that, okay? So I'm going to type in the O for offset command, and I'm going to say that it's 1 unit in. Type offset command again, 1 unit in. So it's here, and let's say it is 1 unit down as well. And you know what? I don't think that's correct. I think it's 1, 2, 3. Let me check something real quick. I think I'm a little too tall here. And that should be, oh, it's 3.5. Yes, I'm half a unit tall. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. We're just kind of working through this exercise. So what I did was I offset 1 unit, and here's where my circle is going to be, or my hole. And my hole is going to be 1 unit in diameter. So I invoke the circle command, and I hit the shift right click, and I want the intersection of this thing right there. And I want it 1 unit. Now I can type diameter here and type in 1. In this case, I just want to type in 0.5, since 0.5 is a radius, and the default is in radius, is the radius. So okay, so now I have my hole here. Okay, so now actually I want to keep these lines here, but I'm just going to break them. So I type the BR for the break command. Click there and click there, and then click there and click there. Okay. Now I want to do the same for this here, and I want to type in line, and I want to right click. I'm sorry. I'm going to type the command line, shift, and I want to go to the center of this, and then let's turn the orthogonal back on by F8. I go here, okay, and then let me do it again, line, shift, and then right click simultaneously. We'll go to the center of the circle, we'll go there, and then all I need to do is, here's a new way of editing the line. If I just highlight the line, notice these blue dots, those are called grips. If I have my F8 invoked, all I need to do is click on the grip, bring it over, and then just click again, and that's where it's at. So I just grab this blue grip, bring it up to the top, just click again, and then if I want to adjust this one, I can just bring it in, okay? Now, this is working orthogonally because I have my F8 invoked. If I did not, let me show you what happened. I'm going to turn off my F8. It'll go all over the place, okay? But as long as my F8 is invoked, I can make sure it maintain an orthogonal orientation, all right? So let's take a look at what we have here. Zoom, dynamic. You can type in zoom all or zoom extents, and it will basically give you this image here, or you can just, like I said, scroll with your middle mouse button. So now, what you can do now is you can copy this line here, CO, use command CO for copy, and since your F8 is still invoked, you can just copy this line by clicking out here, out in space, and bringing that line down. Okay, that line is the center line, and you can invoke the CO copy again, select that line, and then bring it across. And then using your grip modifier, grab that point and bring it across, because this is what this represents the center line of that hole. Okay, so now all you need to do is now project down the hidden lines that are created by these holes there, and then you're basically finished with this part. Okay, so that's it for the video on creating this part. And my next video, which I'm going to do here in a minute, is how to draw threads and springs, which are very similar, okay? And I just might do that using Sketchbook Pro here. So it's going to be a little rough, but I think you'll get the picture of how to do this manually. And once you learn how to do it manually, it's easy to translate it into AutoCAD. All right, so wait for the video and I'll be back with you in a minute.